Well, welcome back to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse Road Stories here. Anybody remember the 70s and anybody ever hear of hot television sets, hot TVs? Well, wheeling and dealing like I do, I had heard of the elusive hot TV, and I really didn't see one until really later on in life. Um, what happens is there's a lot of scams with TVs going on. I was working in the Getty station when this guy pulled in with a 19-inch RCA color TV, brand new in the box, supposedly. So my boss was interested. So they go in, they set it up, they're trying to tune it in. I'm looking at the back, and I said, "This thing's brand new?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, why?" I said, "Well, how come it has property of Holiday Inn Sea Caucus on the back?" Well, that killed that deal. So what I found out was that basically I was driving down Route 80 one day and I saw this big sign where an RCA Warehouse was, and they just had a big sign up, reconditioned televisions. Well, they weren't really reconditioned. What the deal was is I guess they lease or sell the TVs to a hotel chain, and after a year goes by, they sort of take them back. And, luck of the draw. Maybe the thing was played a lot. Maybe it was turned on 3 or 4 times. But anyway, they, shined them up with lemon pledge and, got boxes and RCA tape and put them in there and sold them to hustlers. And the hustlers went out and basically tried to convince, people that didn't know that these were brand new and send in the warranty, which there wasn't any. So that was one. When I was working at Sunrise, Texaco, across the street was an Exxon station, and this kid named Tony worked there. And, let's face it, where I lived and worked might have been, a lot of things, so we say falling off the back of a truck is the expression. So he knew I got stuff, and he was sort of like wanting to jump into the fray. So one day he comes across the street, all smiles, and goes, "I just bought 5 color TVs for $100 a piece." I said, "Cool, where are they?" And he goes, "Oh, the guy's going to bring them over in a little bit." And I'm like, "You didn't give this guy the money up front, did you?" He goes, Yeah, the guy's been in here a lot. He wouldn't screw me. So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, first rule of thumb, never hand over money for something you don't have in your hand." So I don't know what time this was, but I closed up 11 o'clock at night, and I saw him still sitting in the office drumming a desk thinking this guy was going to show up, which he never did. So later on, and the thing was, there was nothing wrong with these TVs. I mean, when I got my first apartment, I went to this place in Bergenfield that basically sold hotel TVs. So I got my first color TV for, I think it was $175. So I'm over in New York hanging out. This was in my book. And I see these college kids, and they're talking to this black guy. And this black guy has what you thought was a 13-inch Sony color TV still in the box. And he's trying to make deals with these guys. And it's like, okay, we want like 4 of them. There's 4 of us, and what can you do? And I need the money up front. You can hold this one TV, this and that and the other thing. So it looks like the guys gave them the money up front, and they held the TV, which probably when they opened it up, they would find the packing material and bricks to give it the weight, because that's what they did. So, there was another incident where a friend of mine, Steve, said he had a line on these console TVs, which were 19-inch, the ones that were basically a piece of furniture, and the price was right. But they needed a van to get them, and I was the only guy who had the van. So he had another guy involved, a guy named What Do You Mean Gene, because every time you talk to Gene, he'd go, "Well, what do you mean?" So we called him What Do You Mean Gene. So basically, I spent 3 miserable days in an apartment with these 2 guys playing cards and waiting for the phone call that was never going to come, because finally at the 3rd day, I asked Steve, I said, "Where are these coming from?" And when he told me the town that they were coming out of, I said, "Forget about it, you ain't got anything." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "That town is where Lucy the octopus lives, and I'm sure that if something came through that town, she wrapped one of her tentacles around it." So there was never, it never happened, and it was, like I said, a miserable 3 days. We were really getting on each other's nerves big time. So the only time, and if it's hot, it's hot. I knew a guy named Jerry who had a meat packing plant on 14th Street, New York. And he used to give me deals on like a case of chicken breast, 10 pounds of chopped meat, whatever, because it was fresh there. He also had a couple racehorses. Well, one day he comes in and he goes, "Listen, I got a deal. I can get these sharp 27-inch color TVs for $2.25 a piece," which at that time was a really good deal. Okay, I'm good. And then another guy was there, goes, can you get me one? I said, okay, Jerry, I'll take two. And he goes, well, you got to meet me. I'll take you over where to get them. Meet me at, in front of your father's store about 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, no big deal, because I lived over the damn store. So I met him at 6 o'clock. I follow him over into New York, and we go up on Broadway, and he tells me to pull over, give him the money. He's going to go in and get the stuff. No, you got to stay here and wait. Obviously, he was in at $25 was added on to each TV, so he's making $50 for setting it up, which I had no problem with. I do the same thing. So these two Mexican kids wheel out these two TVs on a gurney. I put them on my truck and drive off, and I look at the building where I was at, and it was Norman's House of Deals on Broadway. So inadvertently, years before I actually met him, I did business with Norman's House of Deals. Strange how shit works out. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, still on sale, www.42ndstreetpete.net, $20 shipped. It's on Amazon. It's all over the place. So, and again, thanks to Grindhouse Releasing for the nice push. So that's our show for today, and we'll catch you on the flip side. So until then, stay safe.